You spend 20 minutes comparing gas prices across 3 different stations to save $4. Later that same day, you'll tap your card at a coffee shop, buy a $7 latte without even glancing at the total, and forget about it before you finish drinking it. Same person, same day, same brain. So why do you fight for $4 in one moment and forget about $7 in the next? It's not about the amount. It's not about how much money you have. It's about something happening in your hand in the half second between deciding to buy something and actually paying for it. And once you see what's happening in that half second, you'll start noticing it everywhere in your own life. In restaurants, in apps, in every buy now button you've tapped without thinking twice. There's a rule hiding inside that moment. The companies that made your cards have known about it for decades. You probably never have. If someone asked you why credit cards are risky, you'd probably say the same thing most people do. Interest rates, high APR, compounding debt, minimum payments that barely touch the balance. All true, all real, all part of the story. But here's the uncomfortable part. You don't need to be reckless for this to happen to you. You're not buying yachts, you're buying coffee, groceries, a few dinners out, small things repeated often enough that they quietly stack into a balance you don't remember agreeing to. If the danger were only about interest rates, you'd expect financially literate people, people who understand percentages, who know exactly how compounding works, to be immune. They're not. And neither are you, no matter how well you think you understand the math. Doctors, accountants, finance graduates carry revolving credit card debt too. People who could explain APR to you in their sleep still end most months owing more than they meant to. So the math isn't the problem. Something is happening to you before the math ever gets a chance to matter. Here it is. The less a payment feels like losing money, the less your brain resists spending it. Economists call the discomfort of parting with money the pain of paying. It's not metaphorical. It's a real measurable response happening inside you. When you hand over physical cash, your brain registers something close to a small loss. That sting is doing you a favor. It's friction. It makes you pause, even for a fraction of a second, and ask yourself, do I actually want this? Your credit card removes that friction almost entirely. There's no cash leaving your hand, no visible total shrinking in your wallet, just a tap, a beep, and a receipt you'll probably never look at again. You've made the purchase, but the feeling of paying gets delayed, softened, and disconnected from the moment entirely. Because your real reckoning doesn't arrive until a statement shows up weeks later, bundled with 40 other purchases you've already forgotten making. This isn't a side effect of your card, it's the design. The entire business model depends on you spending more freely than you would with cash, not through trickery, but through the simple removal of a psychological signal your brain relies on to make good decisions for you. That's the hidden rule. Friction is what makes you think. Remove the friction, and you remove the thinking. Once you know what you're looking for, this stops being about credit cards. You'll start seeing it everywhere money leaves your hands. Your subscriptions run on the same principle. A monthly charge you never manually approve again is friction removed from your life permanently. You feel the first payment. You stop feeling the 10th. Buy now, pay later goes a step further. It doesn't just remove your pain of paying, it removes the timing of it too. 4 installments feel like a fraction of the cost to you, even when the total sitting on your account is identical. Tap to pay and the cards saved in your apps shrink your moment of payment down to under a second. The shorter that moment gets, the smaller your pause and the weaker your resistance. Your career runs on a quieter version of the same rule. Money that arrives automatically, your salary deposit, a bonus, a raise you didn't have to fight for, gets spent differently by you than money you had to negotiate hard for, dollar by dollar. Effort creates friction. Friction creates value in your mind, even when the currency is identical. Debt itself follows the same pattern in reverse. A loan doesn't feel like a loss to you on the day you take it. It feels like gained money. Your pain gets pushed into the future, one minimum payment at a time, exactly the same way the pain of a purchase gets pushed into next month's statement. Different situations, same invisible lever pulling on you, distance between your decision and your discomfort. Here's where it gets worse. Your card doesn't just remove the pain of paying, It replaces that pain with something that feels like a small win. Every swipe hands you points, cashback, or miles. A tiny reward attached to the exact moment where you should be feeling friction instead. So instead of a sting, you get a dopamine hit. Instead of hesitation, you get a reason to keep going. Think about how that changes your math without you noticing. You buy the $7 latte, and some part of your brain registers a win. You got something back. Never mind that you had to spend money to get it. The reward arrives instantly. The cost arrives a month later, buried in a statement. Your brain weighs the two unevenly because one is immediate and one isn't. This is why you'll spend more on a rewards card than a plain one, even when you fully intend to pay it off. Study after study on rewards programs finds the same result. Cardholders spend measurably more overall, and the savings from points rarely come close to covering the extra spending the points themselves encouraged. You didn't get a discount. You got a reason to stop counting. And the companies issuing those cards know the math better than you do. They're not funding your 2% cash back out of generosity. They're funding it because it keeps your card in your hand, out of your wallet, tapping instead of pausing. The reward isn't the prize. It's the bait that keeps the friction gone. There's a number sitting quietly on every one of your cards that's doing more damage than the interest rate ever will: your credit limit. You don't see it as a boundary, you see it as available money. That's not an accident of language. It's the exact wording your bank chooses. Available credit. Not money you don't have, not debt you owe. Available. As if it were sitting there, already yours, just waiting for you to use it. Your brain treats a limit the way it treats a balance. If your limit is $5,000, some part of you quietly anchors to that number as a kind of ceiling on what's reasonable to spend. Even though every dollar of it is borrowed, and every dollar carries a cost the moment you don't pay it back in full. And your limit rarely stays still. Use your card responsibly for a year, and it goes up. That increase doesn't come with more income. It doesn't come with more savings. It comes with more of that same word: available. Your bank isn't rewarding you for handling money well. It's expanding the size of the room you're allowed to spend in, betting that you'll use more of it simply because it's there. This is the same hidden rule wearing a different mask. A credit limit removes friction before you've even picked something up to buy. It answers the question, can I afford this? Before you've asked it, replacing a real calculation, what do I actually have? With a borrowed ceiling that was never yours to begin with. The people who use credit well aren't the ones with the highest limits. They're the ones who never let the limit answer a question that only their actual finances should get to answer. This isn't a theory about someone else. It's been tested directly on people exactly like you. Researchers ran an experiment using a real auction for tickets to a Boston Celtics game. Two identical groups bid on the same tickets. The only difference, one group was told they'd pay in cash if they won, the other in credit. The credit card bidders didn't just bid slightly more, they bid roughly double. Same tickets, same value, same kind of person sitting where you'd be sitting. The only variable that moved was how the payment would feel, and that alone was enough to double what people were willing to hand over. Separate studies on restaurant tipping, retail spending, and even charitable donations find the same pattern again and again. You pay more, tip more, and give more generously the moment your payment method removes the physical, felt moment of loss. Your card isn't just a payment tool, it's a psychological switch, and it's being flipped inside you quietly every single day. If you're in your 20s or 30s, this rule should change how you think about every recurring purchase in your life. Not because your card is evil, but because your brain was never built to register a tap the same way it registers a loss. The fix isn't stop using your card. Your card isn't the villain. The absence of friction is. Your job is to manually rebuild the friction your brain lost. That might mean you check your balance before every purchase over a certain amount instead of after. It might mean you move your discretionary spending to a separate account you have to actively transfer money into, recreating the handing it over feeling on purpose. It might mean you review your statements weekly instead of monthly, so the gap between your spending and its consequence stays short enough for you to actually register it. None of this is about your willpower. Willpower loses to design almost every time. This is about you noticing exactly where the design removed your pause, and putting a pause back in deliberately, before the habit compounds the way the interest does. You won't struggle less with credit cards because you're more disciplined than everyone else. You'll struggle less the moment you stop letting the payment become invisible to you. Every financial system you will ever use is built around one decision: how much distance to put between you and the discomfort of paying. Cash keeps that distance at zero. Your card stretches it into weeks. Debt stretches it into years. The rule never changes. Only the distance does. And the next time you tap your card without a second thought, that's not a small moment for you. That's the whole system working on you, exactly as it was designed to.